And next morning, Hercules and the Panther prepared to ride out with a group of warriors. The sky was overcast, as if the heavens themselves sensed the coming storm. I stood by the palace gates, my heart heavy with fear. I watched as Princess Nandi approached the two warriors, her face calm yet troubled. "Remember," she said, her voice steady, "you fight not just for victory, but for the lives of our people. Protect them and protect each other." The Panther nodded, while Hercules placed a hand on his chest and bowed slightly. "We will return," he promised. With that, they rode out, a line of warriors behind them, their spears gleaming in the early morning light. I watched until they disappeared over the horizon, the ground trembling slightly from the pounding of hooves. The day passed in tense silence. The palace and the kingdom waited, every sound sharp and unnerving. I tried to keep busy, but my thoughts drifted constantly to the battle that was unfolding somewhere far from us. Would they succeed? Would they even survive? As the sun began to set, a distant rumble filled the air. At first, we thought it was thunder, but soon we realized it was the sound of battle. The air grew heavy, and the tension in the palace was palpable. Then, in the fading light of dusk, the first figures appeared on the horizon. At the front, I recognized the Panther, his silhouette clear and strong. Beside him rode Hercules, their forms moving steadily toward us. Behind them, the warriors followed, some wounded but all alive. My heart soared. They had returned. The palace erupted in cheers as they entered the gates, but I noticed something in their eyes, a darkness that spoke of the battle they had endured. They dismounted, and I rushed to their side, barely able to contain my questions. "We drove them back," Hercules said, his voice steady but grim. "But they will return. They are stronger than we imagined." The Panther nodded, his face stern. "We bought time, but not peace. They are led by a powerful warlord who seeks to conquer these lands." Shaka-Zulu stepped forward, his gaze sweeping over the warriors. "You have fought bravely," he said, "but this battle is not over. We must prepare for their return." The days that followed were filled with preparations. The kingdom fortified its defenses. The warriors trained tirelessly, and the people braced themselves for the storm to come. But amidst the preparations, a message arrived. It was a challenge from the warlord leading the raiders. "I seek the guardians of the Zulu kingdom." The message read, "If they dare, let them meet me at the Hill of Spirits at dawn. There, we will settle this war with a single fight." The Panther and Hercules read the message in silence. I watched their faces, searching for any sign of hesitation, but saw none. They were ready. They had faced challenges before, and this would be no different. "We will go," the Panther said, his voice calm, "but we will go together." Hercules nodded. "Together," he agreed, "for this land, and for its people." At dawn, they rode to the Hill of Spirits, where the warlord and his men awaited. The sky was dark and ominous, as if the world itself held its breath. The warlord stood tall, his armor glinting in the pale light, his eyes filled with malice. "So, you are the guardians," he sneered. "Let's see if you are as mighty as they say." Without another word, the battle began. The warlord charged forward, swinging his weapon with terrifying force. Hercules stepped up to meet him, their weapons clashing with a sound that echoed through the hills. Sparks flew as they fought, each blow a test of strength and skill. The Panther circled, waiting for his moment. He moved like a shadow, swift and silent, his eyes locked on the warlord's every move. When he saw an opening, he struck, his spear flashing in the dim light. The warlord roared in anger, turning his attention to the Panther, who danced around him, evading each attack with grace and precision. The battle raged on, the three warriors locked in a deadly dance. The warlord was strong, but he faced not just one great warrior, but two who fought with both strength and wisdom. Hercules struck with raw power, while the Panther moved with the agility of a predator. They worked in harmony, covering each other's weaknesses and pressing the warlord to his limits. Finally, as the sun began to rise, the warlord faltered. In that split second, the Panther lunged forward, his spear aimed true. Hercules, at the same moment, swung his weapon with all his might. The warlord fell to the ground, defeated, his eyes wide with shock. It was over. The kingdom was safe. They returned to the palace as heroes, their victory celebrated by all. But as they stood before Shaka-Zulu and Princess Nandi, there was no pride in their eyes, only relief. The battle had been won, but the cost had been high. They had faced not just a warlord, but the darkness of ambition and the harsh truth of conflict. "You have proven yourselves once more," Shaka-Zulu said, his voice filled with respect, "not just as warriors, but as guardians of this land." Princess Nandi stepped forward, her eyes shining with pride and love. "You have fought for more than victory," she said softly. "You have fought for peace, for our people." and for each other. The panther nodded, his gaze meeting hers. This land is our home, he said simply, and we will protect it, always. Hercules smiled, a rare softness in his eyes. I came here seeking to prove myself, he admitted, but what I found was something far greater, a place to belong, and a bond worth fighting for. And so, the tale of Hercules and the African panther came to a close. They remained in the kingdom, not as rivals, but as brothers. Together, they watched over the land, ensuring that peace would reign for generations to come. The story of their battles, of their friendship, and of their love for the land spread far and wide, becoming a legend told around fires on cold nights. And I, the humble servant who witnessed it all, carried their story in my heart, sharing it with anyone willing to listen. For it was not just a story of strength and might, but of wisdom, unity, and the courage to face both enemies and one's own limits. It was the tale of the guardians who fought for love, for peace, and for the spirit of Africa. And so, it lives on, carried by the wind, whispered by the earth, and remembered by the people of the Zulu kingdom.